So are you as resilient as ever? Resilience is an important thing, and I think we've learned that lesson, or we should be learning that lesson based on what's happened to us over the two years plus that we've come through with this pandemic. Certainly we've had to be resilient and resourceful, but we wanted to talk about resilience today, and we're doing that with Marie Cosgrove. She joins us now. She has penned a book called Greater Fortune, Essential Lessons from the Entrepreneur Who Bought the Company That Fired Her, and we're talking about being resilient. And you pose the question, have adults lost the grit and determination they learned as children? And I had never thought about it in that respect before. Marie, welcome to the program. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Honored to be here.
So let's talk a little about resilience. As it was posed in that thought, I thought, really, am I? Because when you're kids, you go through a lot of bumps and scrapes all the time.
Absolutely. And you just get back up, right?
Yeah. You try to,
yep.
But as adults, where do we stand? What are you seeing around, and what are the things that you're experiencing?
Well, a lot of people. I'll give you an example. Adaptability. I think that is one of the keys to resiliency, and we need it now more than ever. And I see it in the workplace a lot. I'm going to give you an example from the workplace. When someone makes a mistake, they beat themselves up over it, and they're like, "Oh no!" And the whole world's gone down, and they have a bad day, and everything's ruined because they made a mistake. And when you build resiliency, you're able to adapt. You're able to adapt to different circumstances. And okay, I made a mistake, but what can I learn from it, and what can I do to make it better so that this does not happen again? And so I think as adults, we've lost that. And as children, a baby falls, they get back up, right? And they just keep on going. It's no big deal. You just walk right through it. But as adults, we tend to lose that, and we tend to think more negatively, and we're not able to adapt. Not all of us. Some of us are great adapters, and the people that are great adapters, they're the resilient ones. They're the ones that are able to go through just about anything. And, I understand, it's been a tough year for all of us, with the COVID, loss of life. You've got the mass shootings. There is a lot going on where a lot of us are experiencing anxiety, depression. And I understand loss. I witnessed my stepdad commit suicide. And so suicide, for me, that was a huge loss. And it was difficult going through it back when I was only 12 years old.
Wow.
The solution was take a pill. Why can't you get over this? Just move on. And yes, I understand that we need to take time to grieve. We do. But how can I serve others? How can I use this pain in my life as power? How can I use it to help others? I was born to a mentally disabled single mom. I'm a product of rape. And so I came into the world through adversity. And I remember my childhood blissful until I turned, 8 or 9. And then, my world started to become very dark. And I didn't always have these skill sets. I wasn't always adaptable. And going back through my life, I see how when I wasn't adaptable, I was stuck in this victim mentality of poor me, woe is me, and why did this happen to me? I shouldn't have even been born. And you get stuck in this mentality. But when you are adaptable, you see things in a different light. I get to do this today. I get to help someone because of my adversity. I'm able to do the work that I do today to help others. I'm more resilient. And so I still, nobody goes through this world without adversity. And
it's impossible.
No one will, impossible. And you will not, even, I don't care how adaptable you are, you're not going to have perfection the rest of your life. You are going to have setbacks. You're going to have failures, but it is how we respond to them, how we look at them. And when you're adaptable, you make a mistake, as I mentioned earlier, you're able to pivot and learn from that mistake and analyze that. How can I learn from this? How can this situation make me stronger? How can I?
Marie, you spark a thought here, and I think what happens, and you've worked as a clinical psychologist, you've seen this more than I have. But I think what happens is when we expect, well, when I'm an adult, I'll be good at everything. I'll be perfect. And what happens is we take the mentality into the workplace and we don't allow ourselves to have the grace to fail and learn from mistakes. We don't try things, so it stifles innovation as we get a little bit older. I had a great experience with a boss who said, you're moving into this position, you're going to make mistakes. I'm telling you, you're going to make mistakes, but we're going to work through it and we're going to learn from it. And I think having that has made a difference for me.
Oh, yes, that's a smart boss there. Absolutely. And that's the key right there, because I have had bosses like your boss, and I've had bosses that, nope, you made a mistake, that's it, you're gone, So it is, I think that's a big aha moment for all of us, is being able to learn and grow and not expect perfection. And I know that sounds, counterintuitive, especially I do a lot of public speaking. So with motivational speakers, you got to have perfection, and, you plan out this perfect life for yourself. And then when it doesn't happen, you set up all these expectations. Then you're like, something must be wrong with me. And, what did I do? And we sink ourselves down into a deeper hole instead of learning from that. Like
Right.
Your boss said, you're going to make mistakes, and we can use those and learn from them and grow.
I've had people come to me and say, I did this, I made this mistake, and I always stop and go, wait a minute, how many times did you do it? Well, just this once. I said, right, it's a lesson. You make it more often, it's a mistake. But if you learn from it the first time, that is a lesson. And I think the more we take that attitude in our personal lives and say, give us ourselves the grace to go, I'm not going to be perfect, but I can strive for being better, if not perfect.
Exactly. So it's taking those small steps on a daily basis and growing from them. I also have a manufacturing company, and it's a company that I was fired from and I bought a couple of years later, which I share in my book.
Which I think is just killer. That's his classic.
But one of the things, it's FDA cleared facility, so it's in the healthcare industry. But one of the things that we have to do is, it's called kappas, a corrective and preventive action. Mm-hmm. And I remember my first experience, I was so excited because I didn't have any. And so the auditor's like, you can get dinged for not having any. And I said, yeah, but we're doing so well, we haven't had any mistakes. They said, no, that's not the point of the exercise. The point of the exercise is you write down things that could potentially go wrong, and how would you fix them, and how would you respond to them. And so you have to have at least 5 of those, or I think it was around 5 of those, because we do it now all the time.
Right.
You have to have at least 5 of those every single month, and you have to have them documented, even though everything's perfect. And that was such a good exercise, because when COVID hit, and then we had supply chain issues, and then we had parts that were completely discontinued, we already had a plan B, and we already had a solution on how we were going to move forward. And so that is also, I find, very helpful in our personal lives. Everything may be going great, but if this happens, how just like if, when you're a kid, you learn, if there's a fire, what are you going to do? You're going to roll, and you're going to, right. But we don't do that in our personal lives. Well, what if this happens? How are we going to respond? How are we going to react? How are we going to handle this? That way we're not in complete shock, and you're able to adapt. And I think that's just, as much as I hate regulatory paperwork, because one small change takes us 6 months of paperwork, I find that these exercises are actually very helpful and can help you in your personal life as well, to do an evaluation of where you are and where you can improve, even though nothing's broken.
Yeah, being able to think through things and see the other side. If X, then Y, etc. Resilience, great topic for this morning. Thank you, Marie Cosgrove, for being with us. The book, Greater Fortune, Essential Lessons from the Entrepreneur Who Bought the Company That Fired Her, and she's running it still today. How do we get the book? Is it still available?
It's still available. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at Barnes & Noble, anywhere books are sold.
All right. Hey, Marie, thanks for being with us this morning. Love it. Just fantastic stuff here.
All right. Thank you.